Hello, welcome to Moonflower Tarot. Before I begin, I just want to remind you that I now have an Etsy page where you can get personal email readings from me, and the link to that Etsy page is in the description box below. So without further ado, let's start. So the purpose of this video or tarot reading is to figure out a murder mystery. Any murder mystery of your choice. Think long and hard about one murder mystery that it's kind of like the one that got away, that you just never really quite knew what happened and you're just like itching, you're dying to know. So yeah, let's start. But before I begin, I just want to caution that, or state a disclaimer that this isn't going to resonate with everyone. And if something doesn't resonate with you, you can either move on to another pile or take what resonates and leave what doesn't, because this is ultimately for entertainment purposes only. Alright, so let's start. So we have 3 piles here, 1, 2, 3, and each one has an image on top. So I'm going to count down from 10, and that's going to give you 10 seconds to decide between the 3 images starting now. And don't think about it too much, just go with the first image that resonated with you from the start. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so if you've made your choice, I'm going to go right ahead and start with the first group, the triangle group, and I'm going to move the other cards out of the way. And I'm actually going to move them completely out of the way because this is going to be quite a thorough read. I mean, I will try to keep it short and to the point, but it will be pretty thorough. Okay, so here we have the triangle group. So let's see. Let's try to figure out the triangle group's murder mystery. So let's ultimately start with these big cards first. Let me just move these. Okay, so let's try to get some information, maybe a backstory of some kind, any kind of insight here, please, for the triangle group concerning their murder mystery. Okay, so here we have death, we have the 7 of wands, and then we have the 4 of coins. Let's zoom in. So, okay, let me just take the vibe in, take a sip of my tea. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm seeing that whoever committed or orchestrated this murder, this was planned. This wasn't something that was just spontaneously like in the heat of the moment or anything like that. This had been planned possibly by a group of people. I'm even kind of getting this vibe of like whoever was at the top of whatever this was, this plan or this sort of orchestration to murder this person. It was probably a Scorpio. I'm getting some really strong Scorpio energy. Either that or I'm gonna say Capricorn. So I'm getting like some Scorpio or Capricorn energy, possibly Pisces, with the water here. So yeah, I would keep those 3 astrological placements in mind. This could be either in their sun, moon, rising, or Mars. So that's going to be, once again, Scorpio, Capricorn, or Pisces. And yes, it looks like this was orchestrated by a group of people. I think that the person who was murdered was, I'm getting maybe they were like a truth seeker, somebody who would communicate the truth, like look for the truth. And this wasn't the type of person to just like sit back and like be complacent, not knowing what happened in certain situations, maybe involving like corruption or something like crime. Like this is the type of person who is a truth seeker, and they like to communicate the truth to people, anyone who would listen, kind kind of like a vigilante type of person, revolutionary type energy about this person. They were a good communicator. However, I'm seeing that a lot of people around them would sort of paint them as not crazy, but maybe like, oh, this person doesn't know what they're talking about, or they are exaggerating, or they are not quite aligned with the truth, even though actually they were a truth seeker and they were aligned with their truth, and they were just very bold about it in a way that most people weren't quite used to. Like some people aren't ready to hear the truth. And so the easiest way to go about it is maybe to block it out or accuse the person who's speaking the truth of being crazy or something. But this person represented an opposition to some kind of something. Like, I'm really honestly getting the vibe that somebody who might have been in power, or someone who benefited from their disappearance. Like, this person was basically presenting a problem in some way, like getting in the way of something, basically, because they were digging too much. They were too much of a truth seeker. They were spreading around the truth, and this was inconvenient for whoever this person in power was. Once again, with Scorpio, Capricorn, or Pisces placements in their astrological chart, this person presented an inconvenience to them, to this powerful whoever they were. And so it was definitely a planned murder. It was carefully orchestrated, every step of the way. I'm almost getting that this wasn't committed by one person. Like, there were other people involved here. And with the Four of Coins, I'm also getting that there's something involving money here. I'm almost getting, like, with the death of this person, it's like some bigger party or some powerful person or somebody who is maybe powerful in some way was going to benefit in the way of money. Or maybe it's like this powerful person was trying to do something, like they were out to get some kind of financial reward or financial benefit. But this person who was murdered was in the way. They were standing in the way, and they needed to be eliminated in their eyes. But in the end, it's about, I'm seeing this isn't just about money. Look at this. This is also about power, because look at this. It's literally, this looks like a nun or something. Correct me if I'm wrong, or midwife. Not really sure, but she's holding like an organ. Looks like a human organ or a heart. That's kind of dark here. But however, okay, basically I'm saying that this isn't just about financial payoff for whoever this person was that orchestrated this murder. This was ultimately about power. It could have even been like a display of power. A display of power meaning, with the disappearance of this person, it was almost like showing their adversaries, like this powerful person was showing their enemies, like, this is what happens when you stand in my way. Like, look at this. Or even like a sacrifice of some kind, to display their power. You know what I mean? Like, to scare their enemies, to basically, showcase that if you dig around too much in my business, this is what happens. Like, look at this as an example, as a way to kind of like scare their opponents or adversaries or enemies, Wow. Okay. That's really, really intense, but let's try to get more insight here. Any kind of insight here for group 1, the triangle group? Is there any more insight concerning this murder mystery? So here we have the Page of Swords, the Hermit, and the World. So I'm seeing here that, yes, this murder was orchestrated by a group of people, a bigger group of people than we are aware, or maybe the world is aware. However, the person that they chose to carry out this murder, or this elimination of this person, was sort of a person who was immature, someone who maybe had a history of violence, but didn't really know how to wield their sword, if you will. It's like somebody who had like some aggression, maybe just just the right amount of like a history of violence or something like that, or aggressive tendencies or something. However, they were immature. They didn't really know what they were getting into, like that kind of a thing. This is somebody who wasn't experienced with, murder with a page. This is somebody who was very inexperienced, didn't really quite know what they were getting into, and yet somehow ended up getting involved with this and carrying this out. This person was a loner with the Hermit card. They were kind of lost in the world, and I think that's why these people or group of people chose them to carry this out, because this is a type of person that was maybe looking for like a cause or a sense of direction, and they just happened to be the perfect, I guess, candidate, if you will, to carry out this dark plan. And then here we have the World. So yeah, I'm seeing that maybe there are even multiple people who were connected or something who would benefit from this murder, from the elimination or disappearance of this person. Or maybe, once again, like I said, it was like a way to show others, like, look, this is what happens when you dig around in my business too much, or this is what happens when you try to get in my way, or this is what happens when you talk too much, basically, about the things that I'm doing or spreading around, the truth, like that kind of a thing. It was really an example, but I'm seeing that this might have benefited or involved a lot of people. This could even be internationally with the World card. This isn't just a small little thing. I think that whatever happened here involved a lot of various people around the world, around maybe even like powerful people, because look at this. I mean, these are like figureheads. I'm getting that vibe here. But they're all connected in some way, and that one of the things that connects these people is that they benefited from the disappearance or elimination of this person, whether it's, once again, them going bye-bye, or them being used as an example to scare off their enemies or something like that. So let's try to get some more insight here on, on this situation. So here we have childhood. So I'm seeing that this person who was chosen to orchestrate this or carry this murder out, it's almost as if ever since their childhood, it's like people knew that they had aggressive tendencies, or that they might be prone to doing something like this to somebody. It's like maybe they had a history of, once again, violence ever since they were young, or had problems, like maybe had problems with being aggressive towards others, like a problem child, or like delinquency, like that kind of a thing. Or it's possible that even like a fortune teller has had, when they were a child, foretold like this person is going to grow up to murder someone or do something dark, carry out like a dark plan or something like that. Yeah, so this is rooted in some childhood, maybe some violent tendencies. So let's ask the cards, will this murder mystery ever come to light? Let's ask, will this murder mystery ever come to light? And here I'm seeing with the King of Diamonds that eventually it will come to light. It will come to light because somebody in power, maybe even connected with these people who benefited from this disappearance or elimination of this person, I think maybe an enemy of theirs, somebody who is in opposition to them, someone who is trying to sort of out them, or that would benefit or gain from outing them. So like their enemy, somebody who's quite powerful, who is quite wealthy, is somehow going to bring this to light. And it might not be them directly, obviously, but they may pay people to solve it and bring it to light, or they may maybe even orchestrate a plan like these people did. But orchestrate a plan to solve this mystery and then kind of spread the truth about it in order to out these people, because it will benefit them in some way, either politically or financially. I'm getting financially here with the King of Diamonds. So let's look at one last piece of symbology around this. So I'm seeing that if this does come to light, which it looks like it probably will come to light through that entity that I just showed you in the card, it looks like it's going to involve something involving like a social event or like some big place with lots of powerful people. Like maybe like a powerful person's house, or like even like a government building, or like a big, you know, place of power and social standing. Something significant is gonna happen in that place. This may once again be a powerful person's house, a building, something like that here. Is going to be significant in some way. This image in general will be significant when it comes to light. So like, comment, subscribe, share if this resonated with you. Group 1, the triangle group. And I just want to remind you guys that I now have an Etsy page where you can get personal email readings from me, and the link to that Etsy page is in the description box below. So without further ado, I'm going to move straight into Group 2. So Group 2, here we have the Apple group. So let's see what we have for the Apple group in terms of what happened with their murder mystery. So give us some insight, please, on what happened with their murder mystery. Let's try to get some insight here, some clues for the Apple group. Okay, so let's see, let's zoom in here. Wow, okay, so there's something involving some traditional dynamic here. I'm getting that the victim was either religious, or the person who murdered the victim was religious, or maybe they were both religious, or maybe part of like a sort of a traditional background of some kind, like maybe they're very conservative, or part of a group that really values this kind of like old-fashioned thinking, sort of like old-fashioned in general, very like traditional, old-fashioned, maybe religious, like that kind of a thing. So this is actually pretty significant, I think, involving why this happened. I'm seeing that the victim, whether they were male or female, but I'm really strongly getting that the victim was female. If they weren't, they could have been male. Either way, the victim was somebody who was very kind. Like even if they had flaws, I'm seeing that they're a very soft person, very big heart, very naive. It's like they had so much love to give and so much kindness to give, and also just accepting, like very, very accepting of like all different kinds of people. And ultimately I'm getting the energy that they didn't deserve to die. They didn't deserve this. Yeah, that's really honestly what I'm getting from this. Okay, so we have 8 of Cups. So I'm seeing that the person who perpetrated the murder was, just looking at this, I'm seeing they're pretty jealous. Jealous of the victim, possibly because they were moving on from them, or like, or possibly just moving into a new life that was getting further and further away from the perpetrator. Maybe just either learning a new skill, or like experiencing new life experiences, maybe falling in love with somebody else. Okay, that's what I'm strongly getting. Possibly even just, it's basically, I'm just getting this really strong image with the 8 of Cups of like moving on from the perpetrator, and it made the perpetrator really, really uncomfortable. They had all kinds of ideas in their heads, almost bordering on paranoia. Like, why is this person leaving me? Like, why, like, am I not good enough? Like, just paranoid thoughts, like jealousy, almost maybe bordering on stalking the victim. I'm getting here lots of like stalking energy, possibly even lots of insecurity. Like, that's honestly the vibe that I'm getting. Because look at this card, like this image, these images, there's just all kinds of thoughts. It's like wild thoughts, almost bordering on like paranoia. And I am really getting some vibes that the perpetrator probably honestly thought that the victim was falling in love with somebody else. Like, whether this was true or not, this could just be paranoia, like jealousy fueled paranoia, or like creating like fiction in their minds because of their insecurities or paranoid sort of delusions. But yes, ultimately the murderer, I think, had suspicions or painted some picture in their mind that the victim was moving on from them or falling in love with somebody else, basically. Whether this was true or not, because it might have not even been true. I'm really getting some strong, like, paranoid, sort of delusional, that kind of energy from this person, possibly a stalker. That's what I'm getting here. So let's look at some more insight here. We might have some more insight. So please give us some more insight in terms of this murder mystery involving the Apple group, or that the Apple group is curious about. So here we have the High Priestess, the Star, and the Four of Pentacles. So I'm getting that there was some feminine figure in this person's life, the murderer's life, or the perpetrator, a feminine entity, possibly a mother figure, grandmother, sister, maybe girlfriend, someone who's female, who they looked up to, maybe even like a kind of a controlling personality, very dominant feminine sort of energy here, manipulative, like that kind of energy. I'm getting that this person somehow, either directly or indirectly, influenced the perpetrator to carry this out. This could have even been like, this is just an example. Like, let's just say that the perpetrator or the murderer had a mother that they grew up with who might have been abusive or narcissistic, or neglected the perpetrator. Obviously then they didn't, like, it's not like they told the perpetrator to like murder this victim. However, because of that influence from childhood, which was basically an influence of I guess negligence, maybe abuse, making the perpetrator feel small, this could have possibly fueled their aggression towards women. This is just an example and just a hypothesis. However, that's a real life scenario that oftentimes does happen in certain situations involving things like this. But that's just a theory. But yeah, definitely some kind of feminine energy that either indirectly or directly influenced them to do this. And this is not an excuse. However, this definitely played some part here. But this is not the main reason. This isn't the main reason. And it's definitely not an excuse for what the perpetrator did. So let's look at the with the Star. So yeah, I'm getting some real stalker energy from this perpetrator. This is the way that they viewed the victim. If you look at the Star card, you see someone who, this may even kind of reflect the victim in terms of their actual personality, just dreamy, once again, very kind, just really, really giving, because look at this. I mean, giving, naive, like a dreamer, like somebody who had, like the victim, I'm really getting this sense that they had a really big view of the world and they were just very trusting, really, really trusting, very, very giving emotionally, and even like with their actions as well. And this is really the type of person who would probably like volunteer to help people in need. Just very pure like energy, and I'm really getting this energy that this person did not deserve this. They didn't deserve to go out like this. So with the Four of Pentacles, oh, we got the Four of Pentacles in the last spread as well. But however, with this Four of Pentacles card, this energy here, I'm getting that the perpetrator had something to gain by, I mean, yes, they had like a stalker energy. They had all of that energy that I mentioned previously, with the jealousy and, you know, like sort of aggressive, like delusional sort of energy. However, I am also seeing, as a byproduct of this victim's death, it looks like they would have benefited financially in some way, shape, or form. Like either these are just examples that I'm about to list, but it could have been maybe life insurance money, or maybe an inheritance or something. I don't know, something financial here. I'm getting that they would have benefited in some way. So let's try to get some more information here. So is this murder mystery ever going to come to light? Will this ever come to light? So I'm seeing here with the Eight of Diamonds, it will eventually come to light. It's going to be a process, however. Progress, it seems like it's being made slowly but surely. But this is the type of process that is going to need a lot of financial investment, possibly in the form of like investing in maybe like new technology. Let's look at some more symbology here. Yeah, so with this book card, I'm getting even more strongly that yes, this is the type of project or progress that's going to need to be funded with some kind of research or scientific breakthroughs. This is going to involve a lot of analysis. However, it will come to light slowly but surely, it looks like, in the future, with enough research and scientific breakthroughs, involving more like forensic technology, possibly. So let's look at some more symbology, one last piece of symbology here. So we have connect. So I'm seeing that one way that this will move along for this murder mystery to come to light is for the victim's loved ones to really keep in touch, connect with each other, remember the victim, the positive things, sort of form like a bond of love and recovery and healing, and don't give up hope. I'm seeing here, really don't give up hope. These people, victims, I guess survivors, if you will, need to stay connected, they need to stay bonded, and they need to stay positive ultimately, and help each other heal. And that's really going to help this whole thing move along in general. So like, comment, subscribe, share if this resonated with you. And I just want to remind you again, group 2, that I now have an Etsy page where you can get personal email readings from me. And the link to that Etsy page is in the description box below. So without further ado, I'm going to get to the bag group. So group 3, the bag group. So involving your murder mystery, what kind of insight do we have? So what kind of insight do we have for the bag group involving their murder mystery? Let's see. So what happened here? Give us some insight, please. Okay, so ultimately, I'm just going to be straight. I'm seeing that the perpetrator or the murderer had mental problems. With the Seven of Cups, this usually involves mental illness. I'm getting some strong water sign energy, so they probably had some Scorpio, Pisces, or Cancer in their astrological chart, either in their Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus or Mars signs. But this person had, like a lot of emotional problems, possibly drinking, addictions, maybe taking like medication for it as well, like antidepressants. I don't know, this person had like mental problems. It looks like they felt trapped in some way involving the victim. Not quite sure what that was, but they definitely felt trapped. It's like in a weird twisted way, I think they felt like by murdering the victim, they were going to gain some kind of freedom here with the Ace of Wands. Like they felt like, oh, if I murder this person, I'm going to somehow fulfill something or feel more free. Or it could have also been a crime of passion with the Ace of Wands here. So let's try to get some more insight here. So we have the Hierophant, the King of Pentacles, and the Knight of Cups. So ultimately, I'm seeing here that this person ultimately gained some kind of money from doing this. And yeah, they weren't mentally well.